councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals.
Guns will be taken, and no one will be able to be armed. We will take all guns.
For many of the police and guard troops, it is an uncomfortable job to do this in an American city.
Global governance at last. Is it one world? The central bankers in charge. But aren't we all just living and dying for what the central banks do?
As for me, give me liberty or give me death!
The answer to 1984 is 1776.
It's Thursday, the 18th day of April, 2013. I'm your host, Alex Jones. This is another live edition of InfoWars Nightly News. It is 7:05 Central Standard Time right now. And a lot of us been working around the clock covering the different developments. Before I get to all this news, I just want to say this. There is no doubt this was a totally staged event now, not just provocateur. And when I saw the FBI press conference about an hour ago, with Dan Badandi there asking the questions, they shut another third conference down after it. He had cops threatening him, FBI threatening him before and after. And the FBI, arrogant goon, just a mafia, gets up there and goes, you only trust photos we give you. You don't look at any other photos. For 100 years, we've used you to help capture bad guys, the ones that didn't pay a jig or hoover off or buy them enough dresses. And he basically goes on and says, we need your eyes and ears on this, but only on the 2 people we show you. No one else. Don't look at the other photos. Now, I mean, who would say that? They'd say, this is who we really think it is, not the last couple of groups of patsies that we've exposed. You don't say, don't look at anything else. And media, don't talk about anything else, because we released the photos. They were public photos, but we dug through them, that showed dozens of now Navy SEALs with the Navy SEAL hats and the outfits out there. We've shown all that. We're going to go over that again in a moment. Right around the people with the supposed bombs, right where the bomb goes off. And none of the media will touch these. They'll show a guy on a roof and go, who's that? Because it's blurred. They don't want to touch this. And now the FBI, after they said yesterday, we have the guy that did it, the press conference. And then something changed and they send troops to take over a courthouse, and the guy disappears, and never mind that. Now we have who we think did it, with different color backpacks. And then I'm watching CNN right before we went on tonight, and the financial chick, what's her name? She used to be on CNBC. What's her name? She's on there with the guest on the streets of Boston going, it's probably going to be veterans, these guys. They look confident. And we're going to show you some of that video. Yeah, it's the veterans. They're the ones. Because they've been branding veterans are going to bomb all of us for the last few years, and we've got to take all their guns. And I mean, they're the new enemy. And I said, wow, you know, what's worse than the Tea Party? Only veterans. What's worse than gun owners? Only veterans. I mean, it's the #1 enemy. They've told us. And so now, and of course, all the left-wing, White House-controlled CNN, MSNBC said, it's going to be right-wingers yesterday. We've gotten the word. We're going to blame it all on you guys. We're the heroes. We're the heroes. We're the heroes. And then meanwhile, you've got Kraft International, it looks like. They've got their symbol out there, a Navy SEAL sheep dip group, sitting there running around all over the place, and guys with big black backpacks everywhere, and other people with black backpacks. So it looks like hillbilly patsies. We're going to show some of that here in a moment. But first, the FBI, this is their new footage. They said, ignore everything else. Ignore everything else. Ignore all the Saudis crawling all over it, and Obama in an emergency meeting with the Saudi foreign minister. Ignore all that. Ignore everything. No. There's this footage. Let's go ahead and show this footage. Look, they're blurring a guy out in the doorway, but they didn't blur him from the other angle as the supposed suspects walk by. And when you see that footage, you can see the guy with an earpiece. They walk by, he looks at him, and then it just continues on. The whole thing is just absolutely incredibly suspicious. So here you can see him, the earpiece, he's talking. And then after he goes back by, they then show that guy from the other angle, and he is blurred out. So very, very important on that front. And Infowars.com is receiving about 100,000 new visitors, not hits, visitors a minute when I talk to our IT folks. That's why it takes the site a few seconds to load, but the caching is working. The server systems, CDNs, clouds are working. And so that's the good news here. You guys can sit up there at your press conference and say, only look at this, look at nothing else, which is incredibly guilty. Like, whatever you do, don't dig in my backyard. You know, it's just whatever you do, ignore the elephant in the room. But it doesn't matter. The people know. And they've seen what you've done, and they've seen every sitcom and drama saying the veterans and right-wingers are going to blow you up next week. Give your guns up. And now Obama says, I don't care if Congress didn't ban the guns. I'm going to do it with executive order. That just came out about an hour ago. I mean, this is a takeover, just like you've seen in Europe. Obama's just a puppet. I mean, you've got Axelrod and all his insiders going, it will be right-wingers. It's a lone person. It's only one. And he's a right-winger. We can't say anything else. That was yesterday morning, the night before. And then now it's, oh, no, it's these guys. Oh, no, it's those guys. But just know it's a right-winger. And then I'm watching CNN, and they're like, I'm afraid it's going to be veterans. And I found the article. They had CNN saying that 2 nights ago. You know, we have a feeling it's going to be veterans. It's just a feeling. And then when it ends up being that, just remember that. They just magically knew. They're so good at it. No, it's a bunch of private contractors and groups that are going to get billions of dollars out of turning America into a police state and roughing you and your family up when they... Go to Infowars.com, type in papers, please, Infowars.com, and it shows Nazi Germany checking papers, and then Boston with the military checking some businessmen's papers. When they had hundreds of 400 military troops everywhere, 2,000 police, and it didn't stop this. Navy SEALs everywhere where the bomb went off. Let's say they're not involved. You know, let's say the moon's made of cheese, they're not involved. And still it didn't protect you. Now, this is about them running our lives, and they're the new superclass where, oh, you're a Navy SEAL. That means you walk on water. Here it is. FBI ignores men with backpacks at scene of Boston bombing. Other photos will not be deemed credible. That's what they say in this video we're about to go to, where the FBI gets up there. They're the FBI, Federal Bureau of Godliness, and they say, do not look at anybody else but these photos. Ignore everything else. Don't notice the man behind the curtain. No, look at the big projected Oz. So let's go ahead now and go to that clip. Pay no attention to other pictures, whatever you do. Let's, again, get that video queued up. As soon as you're ready, tell me. As we are live at 7:12 Central. Okay, you've got it. Here they are in the press conference just a few hours ago saying, do not look at anything else, whatever you do. I know nothing. Here it is.
As you can see, the quality of the photos is quite good, but we will continue to work on developing additional images to improve their identification value. Further, on FBI.gov, we have photos of the suspects. The photos and videos are posted for the public and media to use, review, and publicize. For clarity, these images should be the only ones, and I emphasize the only ones, that the public should view to assist us. Other photos should not be deemed credible, and they unnecessarily divert the public's attention in the wrong direction and create undue work for vital law enforcement resources. The photos can be viewed on our website, FBI.gov. It is important to emphasize the images from Monday are indelible, and the horror of that day will remain with us forever. This further underscores our obligation to investigate this crime judiciously in order to bring those responsible to justice. The victims and the survivors deserve nothing more. Nothing less, excuse me.
Yeah, I bet you dehumanized him pretty bad, bud. A little 8-year-old kid. Hey, here, son. Here's the here you go. I mean, you know, this is there's Navy SEALs 20 feet away, but no one knows what happened. I mean, this is so cold-blooded. Don't look at any other photos. God, if you ID one of our people, we're screwed. Don't look at anything. Nothing. Don't look at anything but these pictures. Of course, we said we had the suspect already caught, and it was him yesterday, but then something happened, and we had to raid it with military at the courthouse. But just listen, whatever you do, don't look at other photos. Please, oh, God, we got blown wide open on this. Our people are everywhere, all over this. Oh, God. Oh, just listen. Whatever you do, if you care about the victims, don't look at any other pictures. It's your job. We saw the tragedy. Do not look at other photos. Do not go to Infowars.com, whatever you do. They come over to our reporter beforehand and said, "You're not going to talk, are you, buddy? Keep your mouth shut, Madandi." Well, you know what? He didn't show up. And then he went on CNN and was bullhorning while the guy was saying, "It's probably veterans. You know how evil our military is." And that guy was causing trouble in the press conference. I mean, and they had Bill O'Reilly on last night. I just saw the clip before we went live on YouTube going, there's nobody more despicable than Alex Jones. I mean, there's nothing more despicable than saying, you know, look at these photos of just security everywhere right around the bomb with big black backpacks. I mean, don't look at big black backpacks. Just no, we're saving you. We don't want trillions in weapon sales and a takeover. We wouldn't hurt a few children. I mean, we bomb whole villages whenever we feel like it. No, we're good people. We're good. We're your friends. Sure, we did medical experiments on U.S. troops killing them and shot people up with syphilis and radiated little kids to death, but we don't do that now. Of course, the Guard still shot we knew was killing people, but you know, everything's fine. Let's go ahead and move along now to the next piece of news. Mike Adams breaking photo services of the Kraft mobile communications van at Boston Marathon. And look at all the other guys in their little Kraft uniforms. Either that or somebody's copying the Kraft uniforms that we've seen on their own website. But hey, just again, look at no one, even though these guys were 20 feet from the bomb and had big black backpacks. And look at these guys with the gray backpacks. That's what you need to look at right now. And again, I'm not even saying these guys were involved. There's the guy with the Geiger counter that we showed you yesterday. The whole point is that they were in command of the situation. There was a drill, and the government has been caught lying about all that. Continuing, chaos engulfs Boston as mainstream media can't give its cover story straight. That's why they canceled the press conference yesterday, had all these emergency meetings. And again, boys, you said only go to FBI.gov. Only there. Only there. Do not look at it. Do not, if you see people in these videos with black backpacks, forget them. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep, little baby. And when you awake, you'll be under Agenda 21. Take your vaccines and go to sleep and have an autoimmune response. And when you awake, you'll be retarded, which is just what we want. And when you awake, I'll bake you a cake with 24 little horses. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to Dan Bidandi at the press conference, shutting down the third press conference as they panic, as he brings up the real issues. Dan Bidandi, the InfoWars reporter, engaging the globalist at point-blank range. Here it is.
Ortiz to comment on that aspect.
Why are you denying that there was bomb drills Monday morning? We got photographs on Infowars.com, folks.
Next question, please. Next question, please. Yes. Yes.
Are both suspects seen planting these devices at the finish line of the Boston Marathon?
No. The only one who was observed planting what we believe to be the device is suspect number 2 with a white cap. At these time, these are the people of interest to the FBI. Yes. Yes.
Do you have any information on what they did after the explosions? Any indication they were around watching? Do you have any video of them walking away?
Suspect number 2 with the white cap on proceeded west on Boylston Street. And that's all we know right now.
Sir, can you address there are pictures today in newspapers all over the country, including the New York Post, that identified two men as potential suspects. I'm just wondering what it does to your investigation when things like this get out and these guys are wrong.
I think I addressed that, thank you, and I think I addressed that question in my statement by saying the only official photos that should be officially relied upon in this investigation are those you see before you today.
If there are dangers, sir, you stand by your earlier statement that there is no additional danger to the public?
I do stand by that statement right now. There's no additional imminent danger that we are aware of right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, the photos are available at FBI.gov. We'll have more information when we have something to release publicly. We'll be back, but we'll let you know. Check our website, FBI.gov.
Sorry, guys, we're just not going to let you go ahead and blow up the little kids anymore. I mean, we're just going to expose you. We're done playing games. We know you got to be the hero. I mean, how many fire department guys or bomb squad guys we caught planting pipe bombs over the years? It's hundreds to be the hero. Look, we got your MO. We know who you are. And your days of shooting kids up with experimental stuff and killing them is over. Your days of blowing us up are over. Your days of Oklahoma City, of the underwear bomber where the U.S. government got on the plane, it's over. I know you're all watching, and a lot of your guys are compartmentalized. I mean, look at that police chief. I mean, I'm not trying to knock the guy, but he looks like Fred Flintstone. I mean, they literally got the missing link in there. And that's why they won't hire cops with over 100 IQs now, because he will just believe whatever he's told. Well, I'm not that guy. I'm not the missing link, okay? I'm Cro-Magnon and beyond. And I see what the hell you're doing. I'm tired of being hunted by you, you weasel. And well, the minute here at InfoWars.com, he got very, very, very upset. All these guys, he just sit around playing the part of tough guys. They wear uniforms. They're our bosses. They're better than us. They know everything. No, you don't. I'm not going to play games with you anymore. You've been telling us you're going to blame us for terror attacks, and you're getting ready to blame the veterans, and we see who you are. And you think you're going to win, and you're not going to win. Now, let's go ahead and go to the next piece. Speaking of you're not going to win, the info war. What a false flag. What is a false flag? Google Trends show search term spike to 100 times what it was previously, to one of the top search terms in the world. And why is that? Because of our radio show and Dan Badandi. And what is a false flag? It's a known military tactic of staging terror attacks to blame your political enemies. Continuing here, Obama covering up Saudi link to Boston bombing. You've got all these Saudis clearly there, whether they're involved or not. And then you've got Janet Napolitano, Mr. Napolitano, coming out, and we're going to play a clip of this in a moment, and saying, hey, Drudge Report is not credible. And you heard the FBI, do not look at other photos, only what we show you. Please do not look behind the curtain. They do not want you looking at those photos with just the dozens of guys with backpacks standing around right where the bomb went off. Just do not look at that. Do not look at the special forces. Do not look at it. You heard me. Just here we go. Do not look at it. Bill Clinton did not have sex with that woman. There were WMDs in Iraq. You can trust the Private Federal Reserve. It loves you. I mean, this is what's going on here. And then now, arm wrestling champion, WWE champion, Mr. Napolitano, formerly Mr., now Mrs., had a sex change, is the dung beetle, is up there. You got to defile them. Oh, Madam Honorable, because you're a traitorous governor that's trying to sell out America. Oh, you're so honorable. Oh, we're so scared of you. Absolutely incredible. Let's go ahead and go to the beautiful, the luscious, the star of The Exorcist. Drum roll, please. Linda Blair says the Drudge Report is not credible. She is. So here you go.
I'm very concerned about this person of interest that was detained at the hospital in Boston following the Marathon Madness. He is, I believe, scheduled to be deported next week. And now I understand he's been cleared of any wrongdoing in the involvement in Boston, but he is being deported due to national security concerns. But CBS says this gentleman is here on a student visa. He was at the scene along with many other people when the blast happened. As everybody's standing in shock, 3 Boston PD detectives see this guy moving quickly out of the crowd. As they're watching him, he seems to be moving moving very deliberately, which could be a very natural thing after a bombing. They stop him because he's covered with blood. They end up taking him to the hospital. That's straight off CBS. And we're asking average Americans to help ID and assist law enforcement in identifying who the bomber was. See something, say something. And now we have someone who is being deported due to national security concerns, and I'm assuming that he's got some sort of link to terror or he wouldn't be being deported. He was at the scene. He could possibly ID the bomber, just like we're asking every other American that was on the scene to provide your pictures, help us identify who may have been acting funny. Everybody, we're asking that was in Boston, and we've got this guy who was there. We know he was there. He was arrested, or wasn't arrested, was detained in the hospital, covered with blood. He was at the scene, and yet we're going to deport him. So we're going to remove him from the scene.
I am unaware of anyone who is being deported for national security concerns at all related to Boston. I don't know where that rumor
I'm not saying it's related to Boston, but he is being deported.
No, like I said,
all the ship guns into Mexico to blame things.
He was technically a person of interest or a suspect. That was a wash.
We make men live in the bathroom in our office.
There, I will clarify that for you, but I think this is an example of why it is.
I was a linebacker in high school before they,
job.
I want them to do their job.
You know what, in a weed eater.
With me that it's negligent for us as American administration to deport someone.
Listen, I have a short haircut. Bow to me.
The bombing. And we're going to deport him.
I'm a man in a red outfit.
Is that not negligence?
I'm not going to answer that question. It is so full with misstatements and
Oh, yeah. What's your proof?
It's just not worthy of
What's your proof, mister?
Well, CBS reports the gentleman was there. We did detain him at the hospital. He was covered with blood. We've cleared him of any wrongdoing, but it has been reported he is being deported on.
There's been so much reported on this that's been wrong, I can't even begin to tell you,
It was reported that I'm a woman.
We will provide you with
truth, I'm
accurate
Janet
information
Reno.
as it becomes available.
I'm a clone of Janet Reno's butt. I'm sorry. I just can't look at him very long without getting very upset. Oh, my God. I just can't even handle it anymore. Oh, there you go. Well, Mr. Napolitano speaks, ladies and gentlemen, and when he speaks, we all listen. Oh, hold on. Who said men couldn't give birth? To a bat boy. There you go. Huh? So, oh, my God. We're going to go to break, come back with a master sergeant who was arrested for not committing any crime in Texas because, well, you're about to hear, they banned Oath Keepers from meeting. Oh, absolutely. We do have a special report first, and then we're going to come back from that into break. We've got Leanne McAdoo's piece on drones. So we've got that piece, and then we're going to come back with the evil active duty master sergeant who in the middle of the country thought he'd walk down the road with his son with a rifle, which we've all done. I mean, this is evil. Thank God they arrested him for no crime because, I mean, after all, the veterans are the terrorists. I mean, CNN said so. So here is Leanne McAdoo's piece. Then we're going to come back with my interview with the thought criminal. InfoWars Nightly News. And then, Lord willing, tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, is the official kickoff of InfoWars.com radio show. Free audio feeds at InfoWars.com. Free video feeds right now at InfoWars.com/listen. Spread it out to everybody. You must be doing that if we're getting 100,000 new visitors a minute. So I'll have quite a bandwidth bill to pay, so be sure and support us. Buy books, videos, tapes, T-shirts, all of it. And here is Leanne McAdoo, and she is a miss, unlike Mr. Napolitano. Let's go ahead and go to that tape.
This was a heinous and cowardly act, and given what we now know about what took place, the FBI is investigating it as an act of terrorism. Anytime bombs are used to target innocent civilians, it is an act of terror.
I'm Leanne McAdoo, and this is an InfoWars special report. The Obama administration has insisted that drone strikes are authorized only against specific senior al-Qaeda leaders and their associates that were directly involved with the September 11th terror attacks and those who pose an imminent threat to America. This is in direct contrast to the findings reported last week by McClatchy, who reviewed top-secret intelligence documents obtained by their national security reporter. The documents show that drone strikes in Pakistan over a 4-year period didn't meet those standards of authorization, and at times the CIA killed people who were only suspected or who probably belonged to militant groups. McClatchy found that during a 12-month period ending September 2011, at least 265 of the 482 people estimated to have been killed by the CIA were not senior al-Qaeda leaders, but instead were assessed as Afghan, Pakistani, and unknown extremists. In fact, according to news media accounts, drones killed only 6 top al-Qaeda leaders in those months. The report also lists killing of Afghan insurgents whose organization wasn't on the U.S. list of suspected terrorist groups at the time of the 9/11 strikes. 43 of 95 drone strikes reviewed for that period hit groups including unidentified individuals described as foreign fighters and other militants. In a June 2011 talk at Johns Hopkins University in Washington, CIA head and drone mastermind John Brennan said that the U.S. is exceptionally precise and surgical in terms of addressing the terrorist threat. And by that I mean, if there are terrorists who are within an area where there are women and children or others, we do not take such action that might put those innocent men, women, and children in danger. He added that in the last year, there hadn't been a single collateral death because of the exceptional precision of the capabilities that we've been able to develop. Accordingly, the reports McClatchy reviewed estimated there was a single civilian casualty, an individual killed in an April 22, 2011 strike in North Waziristan. However, according to a report by the BBC of that exact strike, out of the 25 casualties, 5 women and 4 children were killed in a nearby house. A 2011 investigation by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism found at least 10 individual attacks in which 45 or more civilians appeared to have died. Pitch Interactive created this graphic showing the casualties of children, civilians, high-profile individuals, and others resulting from drone strikes in Pakistan between 2004 and 2013. All of this information conflicts with what Brennan had to say last year.
We only authorize a particular operation against a specific individual if we have a high degree of confidence that the individual being targeted is indeed the terrorist we are pursuing.
Contrary to the CIA's position that civilian casualties have been exceedingly rare, the documents show that drone operators weren't always certain who they were killing. In light of these facts, the deadly potentiality of domestic drones is even more pressing. The mass introduction of unmanned aerial vehicles is set to sweep the national airspace by 2015, yet our government has yet to set the rules by which the president is authorized to target civilians on American soil. The 12-hour filibuster in March by Senator Rand Paul highlighted this issue.
I think we should all judge as inadequate the president's response when he says he hasn't killed Americans in America yet. He doesn't intend to, but that he might. I don't think that that is a response that we should tolerate. We also know that we have targeted people for sympathizing with the enemy. We've had many people who have dissented in our country. We've had people in our country who have been against the Afghan war, against the Iraq war. I was opposed to the Iraq war. What are the criteria for who will be killed? Could political dissent be part of the standard for drone strikes? And you say, well, that's ridiculous. We have listed people already on websites and said that they were risk for terrorism for their political beliefs.
Considering the recent media spin targeting patriots and then lumping them in the same category as al-Qaeda, are we not setting the stage for drones to be used freely on American soil against those with dissenting opinions?
Can you kill non-combatants? And people say, well, the president would never kill non-combatants. The problem is that's who we're killing overseas.
Reports show that 98% of the casualties from U.S. drone strikes are civilians.
Anytime bombs are used to target innocent civilians, it is an act of terror.
So by his own definition, does Obama consider himself a terrorist? I'm Leanne McAdoo, and this has been an InfoWars special report.
Yes, these men and their hypnotized followers call this a new order. It is not new, and it is not order.